Oh, live.
You're alive.
Oh, live.
After these messages from Showtime Original. He's a
Love how,
reptilian.
even though I updated
Oh, Star Trek.
everything,
Yeah.
like title wise and everything, it still came up on the Twitter as last week's show.
Oh, that's nice.
Come on.
That's why? Why would you do that? Why?
I'm
Okay.
really proud of the title for this one.
Get everything cleared off here. Let's go. Get into the show. Firestarter. I'm a fire starter. Who's a fire starter? You talk about the Prodigy song?
What? Oh, Firestarter. I didn't see chat. I was like, what are you talking about?
Oh,
Oh,
not sure. Firestarter. Who's a fire starter?
perfect. Perfect.
Yeah. All right. Excellent.
And that is
Ooh.
up and good to go. Stephen King.
Oh, is that what's the ad you got?
Firestarter.
Yeah. Uh,
So fire starters are like the sticks, right? That you click to make the fire come out the end. That's like the worst description of that device ever. But
that's more. I always call I've had a torch would do that where you flip it over and you like strike the end of it like a flare or torch.
well, no, that's
Like
one
thing.
thing. I'm talking about the ones that are like really long and have the vat of oil in the back, and you push
Oh,
the trigger forward and ignite it, and then a little tongue of flame comes out the end.
a tongue of flame. I don't know. Maybe. Yes.
I've heard them called fire starters most of my life, but I don't know if that's the
Banana.
technical term.
Bananas. What's up, Dark?
Hello, Doc. I tried to Google it, but all I got was Stephen King's Firestarter.
Yeah. Fire starter.
Firestarter 2.
Yeah, I got the book sitting right over there. It's
The
a good
official
story. I
name
like the
is
story.
Click and Flame Lighter,
Okay.
which, why?
I don't know. That's what it does. You click it, it flames.
Yeah, it's correct. It just,
Yes.
wow. All right. My life is a lie. No, you're right. A fire starter is the rod that you hit.
Yeah.
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 Man, you know. We are talking about lighters. I don't know how we got, I think it was because of the ad, but yeah,
Yeah.
you know. If I look directly at the camera, then you can see the ring light reflects like twice for some reason.
Nice.
I wish I could line it up where that was my eyes.
Yeah. Almost. Almost.
I close my eyes. Does it look like?
Close.
I'll take these off when it's time for the actual podcast, though. Don't worry, Chad. Don't worry. You can't handle me in my glasses the entire podcast. I understand. My raw appeal is too strong if I wear the glasses. So. You only get the glasses on Twitch during the pre-show. If you're watching on YouTube, which you won't even see this part, then you miss them.
Yeah.
That's very true. That's very true.
Very true.
Oh, man. I gotta fill 7 minutes worth of runtime with something. That's why we talk about fire starters and
Heck yeah. No, that's it. That's one of the Stephen King books I actually read through kind of fast.
yeah. I've never read it.
Yeah. So, because, well, you got, but you've read some Stephen King, right?
Yeah, I've read Dark Tower.
Okay. Okay. Anything else, though?
The Stand. I read The Stand.
Okay. Okay. Because Dark Towers, like, the whole thing is
Yeah.
kind of by, that's a little bit different.
Right. He's got a different. I will put it this way: having only read those two Stephen King works, The Stand feels very different from Dark Tower, almost like someone else wrote it.
What it is, see, Stephen King. One of the mistakes, if you meet somebody who like reads a lot of books, and there was Stephen King, one of the mistakes I see a lot of people make when they're talking about it is about like, oh, well, is he a good writer? And they're like, yeah, he's a great writer. And they read it, and it's like, well, no, he's not.
Right.
He's a great storyteller.
Oh yeah.
And that's a little bit different than him
Mm.
being a great writer. And in The Dark Tower, I think that's him trying to really put on his best
I agree.
writing in some points. So the rest of it kind of reads for it's he's a guy you want to sit with and swap stories around the campfire. That's the kind
Right.
of that's the writing on it. And I don't want to demean it or anything
For
because I
sure.
don't think the stories he does would work, written like Tolkien or
Yeah, for sure.
on that on a higher level of reading or whatever.
Yeah. That
But
is very
yeah,
true.
love
Waverly.
Stephen King.
Everyone in our D&D group has glasses. We're biased. You don't wear glasses, you can't play. No, that's not true.
Yeah. Yes.
Where would I have to question now while we're in the pre-show? Where would you
Okay.
put George R.R. Martin in that? What do you think he's better at, telling a story or writing?
Well, he's got a little bit. He's got a little bit of both.
Mhm.
His writing. I think his writing's. I think he's got a pretty high level of writing because like I said, when I started reading it, I expected it to be more like Tolkien.
Yeah,
Um, but it's much more like Frank Herbert from
for
Dune,
sure, for
and it
sure.
kind of runs like that. So, um, I don't know. It's gritty. I like his writing style.
I do too.
Kind of finish his books, but I
Right.
understand.
I also wish that the story focused a little bit
I threw
more
out
on the characters. But that said, I think that's part of where he excels is, hey, we're not going to go back to any of these characters you know and love for like 30 chapters because instead we're going to focus on
Yeah.
these brand new people so that I can explain how this world works to you.
Well,
Which
yeah,
to me,
it's
world building is his biggest strength.
yeah. That's where he's. Now he's got some. It. I've read some of his short stories, and they're
Yeah,
okay. They're
right.
okay. And I love the Song of Fire and Ice. I got the nice little, you know,
Yeah.
little leather set. Um, just need one more. The
Oh, maybe one day. Maybe one day.
maybe one day, but yeah, I think he's a great writer. He's a good storyteller. He's a really good world builder too, and
Hmm.
that's really what that book series is about. That's why
It is.
I can see why some people would find it really frustrating
Yeah.
because like in the tradition of Tolkien, when you have like in Lord of the Rings, when you have this huge world, you got one. It's really 6 books. Lord of the
Right.
Rings. It's broken down how you follow it through, and especially
Hmm.
when the party splits. You're going to have lots and lots of chapters where you don't know about the other ones.
Right. Very true. Well, you ready to kick into this then?
Let's do it.
Grab this, get it prepared to change. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Spectrum Podcast. My name is Trey,
I am Rungren.
and we've got a show to bring to you today. I mentioned in the pre-show, which you can only see on Twitch, by the way. If you're watching this later on in the VOD on YouTube, you can come watch it on Twitch to see us live and join in the wonderful chat that we have down at the bottom of the screen down there.
Yes.
I'm homemade tacos. Nice. That's awesome. The title of this podcast is What a Wonderworld World. And if that doesn't tell you what I'm excited to talk about later, I don't know what will. But we have a whole show until we get there.
Yeah.
And so let's kick things off as we normally do with weeks.
All right.
How's your week been, Rungren?
It's been interesting, man.
We're talking ballad.
Don't give it away. Gosh. Like anybody didn't know.
Right?
No, it's been an interesting week. I've got some work done. I've got 2 more videos recorded. For this Sunday and then one for next Sunday.
Nice.
I know, so I can stay ahead. I'm not far ahead enough right now to where I can guarantee an album release the week after the last song comes out. So I'm trying to get pushed forward on that. So I've been uh been trying so I've been trying to catch up and get up to that. And so we put
Yeah.
obviously every Sunday around 3, a video will go up. Oh, thank you. Go
Link to
through
the
that.
channel for the YouTube
Yeah.
channel.
And got some good reactions on it. People watching from different places.
Also got the
Um,
Here Now in case anybody wants to listen to it on other platforms.
yeah, you can find it just about anywhere. The original the first album, Strange Journey, anywhere it's you can stream music, you can probably find it. Rungren,
Hmm.
Strange Journey. Um, and then the songs that are coming out now, these are going to be on a second album. I'm trying to get that worked out, so we'll have the songs coming out every Sunday,
Yeah.
and then the Sunday after the last song comes out. Because when it gets about to an hour, so I'm trying to finish up about an hour's worth of music,
Hmm.
and then put it out as an album. So I've sung a little bit this week, played a little bit of guitar, and made videos,
Yeah.
and took DaVinci Resolve tutorials. Um,
Well, and
which that's cool.
not to just talk you up or anything, but as someone that has to edit a lot of videos, and
Hmm.
thankfully has the ability to just use gameplay or footage and doesn't have to like mess around with too much. Your most recent video that went up on YouTube, the editing in that is top notch.
Well, I appreciate that, man. That was yeah, trying stuff out with multi-camera, which I do have. If I get, I'm gonna try to get another video done, and then the next video. So not the next one, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out is another instrumental. So I might try to do something interesting with that
Nice.
again, you know, and try to get a multicam thing. It's if I have to like sync up like me singing
Right.
with it, which is pretty easy to do with the software. It's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, um, the whole album. Thank you. Yeah, appreciate that, Faith Ann. The it's a little bit, I don't know, a little more conscientious about it.
Yeah.
If I don't have to worry about that, like on the instrumentals or just filming stuff, then I can kind of just relax and concentrate and go through and edit it and try to do
Right.
the best I can getting it that way. So I'm trying to get better than that. And on top of that, I downloaded and have been messing with a little bit Unreal Engine 5.
Ah, okay.
Now, that's going to make me sound way smarter and cooler than I am. I just want to point out I've never been cool a day in my life. I'm not going to start right now. The but it is interesting just the assets,
Yeah.
just what you can click in a few minutes. I mean, they've got you can click in and click, and you can play the car game on there.
Yeah.
It gives you really basic stuff, platforms to start out with, and the I don't know, man. It's so unique. And then you get something called you got to go through the Epic Games. You got to get the Epic Games launcher to
Right.
download Unreal 5, which is free.
Right.
And it's ridiculous how many other like assets you get. But you get this one. God, I can't remember the name of it. And somebody spotted me, fucking tear me apart in the comments, and it's awesome because I'll be a dummy about it, and I'm fine. I'll learn. I think it's Qing
Okay.
or whatever, but it's just uh, yeah, you take a landscape and drag it in, and then it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like there's no excuse unless you're shooting for a feel, like an older feel for your graphics not to look good.
Right.
It's kind of
For sure.
crazy.
I do have to
Uh,
ask with that too. Are you planning on using some of Unreal 5 for some of the music videos?
yeah, that's gonna be yes, but I mean that's
Ooh.
gonna be down the line a little bit. Um, I'm still trying I'm still trying to work on the obviously the DaVinci Resolve free
Right.
version, right? And trying to get good with that. I'm not doing anything in Fusion.
Okay.
Everything I'm doing is from the edit tab,
Yeah.
the edit screen. I don't go into the Fusion and do any of that, and everything I use is free.
Right.
It comes with a free version, and I think DaVinci 18 out might be right now. But I mean, you may have to already pay for that to get that right now.
Right.
I'm not sure. I need to check the update. Um, I would sometime down the line. My goal is to get the full version. Pay
Right.
I think right now it's $2.99. Might keep clicking on it every few days until
See
Honey
if it's
gives
come
me a
down.
really yeah. Just come down, see if Honey will find me a coupon or something.
Right.
Like we're not sponsored by any of these people, so it's
If
just
only.
Yeah, right. I just happened to actually use it. Um. Yeah, everything's one take run.
Hmm. So
Everything's a one take run on the video. Sorry.
you did
Go
a
ahead.
video Sunday.
Yeah,
I personally really enjoyed that video.
I bet you did. I bet you did, sir.
I did have someone ask if we were going to show it live on the podcast.
Did you really?
I did, yeah.
So what? All right, but I don't
So-
want to be on screen while it's showing.
No, I can make it full screen
Oh shit. Okay.
and let them hear it, and we can just let that play and let everybody have a little sneak into that.
Okay. Go for it,
So
man.
let's do this then.
Oh crap.
They will still be able to hear us behind it.
Okay.
The song is so good too, man. Such a good song. So yeah, yet again, that's Rungren. We'll include a link in the
Thank you.
description and in the. Oh, hold on, that's not supposed to play yet. There we go.
Oh, what's this?
Oh no, I froze.
Oh,
We both froze. Oh no.
everything
Alright,
here is
Let's take this chance to fix this real quick.
okay.
There we go.
Oh my gosh, there we are. We're catching up now.
And here is a link to the song again in case anybody wants to go back and listen to it later because I will tell you right now. Yes, I was the black market criminal there.
Yeah.
Ever since we filmed that, I have been humming that. I love that song. It's so good.
I appreciate it, man. I really do.
If we were just a little bit bigger, I would have done an AMA right after it launched. No, it was such a blast, and I really want people to be able to hear it more because it was great.
Well, here's a funny thing. This actually there's something to do with the movie 300
Yeah,
in this.
right.
It's the argument scene. Now, they had three really, really great cameras in the scene where Leonidas is like running down and it zooms in and zooms out. And goes, that's actually three different cameras
Right.
overlaid to get the thing. So we did it with two and had two people holding, one person zoomed in and the other
Yeah.
person zoomed out. And then I like flip back and forth.
Yeah.
It's like, that worked for 300. I'm going to try it here.
No, it was really good. Also, when we were filming, I didn't see you sniff the pan flute. So when I watched it for the first time Sunday, I was like, oh, that's what he was doing behind my back. I also wasn't consciously putting my hands on the Kamen Rider belt.
I know. Yeah.
I didn't even realize I did that until I was watching it back.
Ah. Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that was a blast.
Yeah. We'll figure out something to do for the next instrumental as well.
Sure.
I don't know. Yeah, that was fun. I'm trying to get this stuff out. That was a good one.
Maybe maybe the live premiere there will help people that are watching on YouTube as well. I say live premiere; it's been out on YouTube for 2 days, but it's the live premiere on this channel, I guess. Maybe that'll make people check it out. So again, link will be in the description. Link will be in the top comment or the pinned comment to both that song and to Rungren's channel. Please go check those out.
Thank you.
Been doing anything else this week?
Trying to think. I haven't touched Lord of the Rings yet, and got back on. Still feel better about it. I'll probably get back on. I needed to go do some War of the Three Peaks stuff.
Yeah.
The 140 level stuff. I can delve into that a little bit. I don't know. Once I've reached I don't know. When I reach max level, I'm like, okay, I would retire, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got an island. I got stuff, treasure all over the island.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll probably get back on. At some point I'm restarting from one.
Right.
I'm just gonna try to run the storyline. That, like I said, we've talked about this. There's a graphics update at some point.
Yeah.
So kind of gonna wait for that, and it's overdue, but I'm not rushing you guys. I just want news about it. I don't like not knowing. I'm hoping by the end of the year we're supposed to have something. So
for sure,
that's all cool. But no, shooting video, making music. Did I play a game this week? I don't think I did. Whew. We had watched a couple episodes of Gundam.
Yeah.
Onto that, so we're getting pretty close to the end of that first collection one, complete collection one. Also,
I have to hurry up and get the rest put on a flash drive. I mean, on a disc. I gotta hurry up and find the disc.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off on that till we finish out this little arc here.
Yeah,
and then I'll probably come and kind of talk about that up a little bit. But that has been my week, sir. How has your week been? How's your week?
My week's been. I've still been playing Guild Wars 2. I got to level 65 today, which is that's almost there, 15 away from 80, which is the max level. Really still loving that game. Put out another video on it just the other day, and that game very, very good for free to play. The not having to pay a subscription is nice.
Now you did say there was a you said, I'm trying to remember correctly. You said something about the beginning of it. You're gonna like a grind or crawl. Like, you got to get up a few levels.
Yeah, you need to get to about level 9 or so, and then things start to flow. By that point, you have most of your abilities, and
I'll get talked about the movie. I'll talk about the movie in a little bit. Go ahead, Joe.
you get pretty balanced out then, and then when you hit 21, you get your first specialization tree that gives you a bunch of passives. You can unlock all of them right away by that point because you've been getting hero points, which is a really cool way to do that. And then when you hit 45, you get the second one. When you hit 71, you get the third one, and then at 80, you get your elite specialization, which augments the class even further. And you have your choice of 3 if you have all the expansions, or just 1 if you don't. But
that's kind of interesting. Through the, I think you still got. I mean, you still got your one to go through, but you can open them up. That's not bad. I was wondering what you're talking about because 3 is like the magic number, right?
Yeah, it
on
is.
On the skill tree.
Yeah,
you got 3 different choices.
I really like to that video that I put out. That's all really that I talked about was that I got the second skill tree, and it's not like in a Borderlands, right? You have just enough points to max out one skill tree, and then you can get a little bit in others. In this one, you have enough for all of it, and you don't have a second one you can switch to. You have a second one that's active with the first one.
Man, if they would do that in Lord of the Rings, where I'm at right now, if I could have all those skills,
right?
Because I can switch, I can get a little bit out of my skill tree. It costs like 1 point more. Yeah, but if I could just like get all red and blue, and then, oh man,
yeah, it'd be great, right?
It'd be disgusting.
And you do have to pick a little bit because you have 5 trees, and you only get to use 3 past level 30 or 71. But being able to, like, it became a completely different game when I got the second set of passives unlocked. Because now I get a swiftness boost when I switch between my different kits to be able to use different weapons. And I get shields depending on which one I'm using. When I heal somebody, they get bonus healing and I get healing. So there's actually a reason to heal people now other than just being nice. And then when I use any of my other abilities, I shoot a bolt of lightning. Just for free.
Just for free? That never hurts.
And it bounces between targets. It's pretty great.
That sounds pretty great.
So I'm at the point now where the combat system's opened up enough that I kind of don't care about... I mean, the story's good. Don't get me wrong. The story's very good. There was a character death that hit pretty hard today. But the story's solid. But, man, I roll into combat with my dodge roll, and I bring up my wrench, and I smack them 3 times. I hit my other ability to make my wrench fire, and then I bring up my shield and block all incoming damage while I have the fire ticking on them. I roll back, switch to the flamethrower, burn them again, switch to the chem gun, poison them, give myself a bonus to healing, switch into my turret skill, and drop bombs on them until all those skills are on cooldown, switch back into my regular rifle, do a rocket jump, hit them hard, and then if my health is hurting a little bit, I switch to my heal pack, heal myself up, and then just redo it all again.
It's like multi-class Diablo.
It does, and it feels really good. And like at the end of the day, that's kind of what this game has going for it, right? Is the combat feels phenomenal.
Yeah, that always helps. I'm
excited
when they get the sound and the movement. I don't know, when it's right, it makes a huge difference for me.
Yeah.
What's up?
Don't get me wrong. I don't think the writing in the story is necessarily like amazing, but they know what they're doing. It's just not like it's not Final Fantasy or Lord of the Rings, right? It's not to that level. But hey, here's an ancient destroyed kingdom that was poisoned by a dragon, and that dragon is back now, and he wants to poison this area too, and you go to an island to try and defend the island, and you lose. It's like, okay, all right. Okay, I'm listening. You have my attention now.
Yeah.
People are dying. We lost if I go back to that spot in the world right now, it's infested.
Yeah. Yeah.
The world state has changed, and I've mentioned before in FF14 in one of my reviews for one of the expansions, I mentioned how world state changing is one of the most important things for me. You go to a zone, and the zone is different because of what you did in it. And that's a really nice thing to have happen in a game, and it absolutely happens here. So
yeah. Matt, when you I know you got so much going on. When you get ready for the Lotro stuff, I'm gonna take you on a tour.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take you on a tour to show you some of the player stuff. So You had some background.
I'm stoked.
Man,
yeah.
I don't know, dude. There's so much. Hold on. Yeah, so I'm still kind of taking in a little bit of
No,
the.
you're good.
Blocked with my shield, pulled out my flamethrower.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you playing?
In an MMO, it feels like an action game. And that's not even using the action camera, which is an option that allows you to swing the camera with your mouse while you're doing your combos.
I wonder what kind of questing system they have.
It's not really questing the way you think.
I don't mean that. I'm sorry. Let me rephrase that a little bit. I'm wondering what. I wonder if they build each quest,
right,
or if they have a framework and fill in for each quest.
Yeah, it definitely feels like they're built because there's not that many of them.
Okay.
The actual like quests you get every 10 levels, and you have a series of like 6 quests in that 10 levels that you get, and they're good, but it feels very much like, hey, these are our quests. Everything else is just go do stuff in the world. Go do stuff for people that aren't really quests as much as just, hey, do these tasks in this area to fill up this gauge for this NPC, and when you complete it, you get a bunch of XP. I like it and don't like it at the same time because it means that I'm not getting a bunch of story told to me, but instead I'm getting a bunch of story just from being in the world. And so, like, in one zone, I'm fighting off Harathi centaurs that have come in and are trying to take over this area. And so there's a bunch of camps with centaurs in them. And then in another zone that's like 2 zones over, I'm squashing a Harathi raiding party that has come in to try and set up a camp here. And then in the next zone, I'm finding a ruined base for the Serifs, and it's been taken over by the Harathi. And it's like, okay, so these 3 zones each have in one chunk of them a continuing story with these centaurs.
Yeah.
And that's just one group, but it's never like overtly told to you of, hey, and then the centaur leader came through it,
Yeah. Well, see, a lot of do you get that story through the side quests through there?
There aren't side quests. I guess the hearts are the side quests.
Oh, okay.
Filling up those gauges, because there are no side quests as far as I've found.
Okay. So yeah, because that's how you get. I said, Lotro almost becomes a virtual novel.
Yeah.
Which I want to be in Middle Earth.
Right. Yeah. No, I understand.
All right. Sorry. But yeah. So if you come to an area and there's like it's usually the side quest for you in, or you get transported through a tale to another time, and
right.
get the whole story going through.
Yeah, Guild Wars is weird for an MMO because of that, I would say. The main story is not like a main story that stitches you through the levels like in a WoW or FF14.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have side quests per se, but you can talk to every NPC, and some of them have cool things to say, and some of them have shops, and some of them will absolutely rook you by charging you a whole gold piece for a rose that you buy thinking it might be special, but it's just a stance change that then you walk around throwing roses, and eventually you have to drop it, and you're a gold out for nothing, and when you go back to talk to them, all they do is laugh.
Yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm not salty. I did get to the point in Guild Wars 2 where they reference Guild Wars 1 and they drop the title, right? At one point an NPC says, "In the Guild Wars." And I was like, "Oh."
There you go.
But no, Guild Wars 2
back in the day.
A fun game. Week-wise for me, I have another Mario Party story, but other than that, I only have one other thing that I did my week. Let me tell this Mario Party story real quick.
You do that. I hear this.
Every 2 or 3 weeks, my girlfriend and I play Mario Party when she gets enough time off for us to be able to do it. And the reason that it has become, for anybody who's new to hearing me talk about Mario Party on this podcast, the reason that it's become a thing every time it comes up is that almost always, somehow, beyond belief, I might as well have not played. And so this time we played the Tycoon map where you have the banks that you invest money in, and as the bank levels up, you get more stars out of it. And I had a very commanding lead, Had 5 stars, 132 coins, and one of the computers managed to get both of the side streets, which is a single block on the entire map, managed to get both of them. And because you can barely get there, hey, it's really hard to put money on those. They didn't have to put a lot of money in there, so they just put a little bit of coins in there. Got 3 stars each. So that brought them up to 1 more star than I had. And then it dropped them right in front of my bank, which they then stole from me because the other CPU hit the event, which is also a single block on the map, that has it where they rob your bank. And so in one turn, I went from being in first place with the most stars to being with 0 stars. And I was like, it's fine. I got 132 coins. All I got to do is get back to that bank. And I spent the next 6 turns trying to get back there, 3 of which I rolled ones.
Yeah.
I finished the game in last place. Might as well have not even played.
Yep. Quit trying to show off when you're in the lead.
I know. It's just... Ugh. And then the other thing that I did was I built my Void Scarred 40K.
Yeah.
My kill team. And I have a little video to show. Yeah, those CPUs always cheat. And this time, I muted it so you can't hear me breathing. These are my boys.
Very nice.
These guys are pirates that broke off from their people because they didn't like what their people were doing. And they just live on their own. They just do their own thing. They're just pirates.
I like the skull on the last one there.
Yeah. They
oh, good look.
They attack people to get money, and that's all they care about. They're just pirates. They don't kill people they don't have to kill. They don't do anything they don't have to do. They're just pirates. You got a good view of my table there for some reason, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bring this down.
Yeah, I really want to check out all these feet.
Let me carry this back just a little bit. I think I was trying to show off the bird. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And then
very nice.
The gunslinger there. But yeah, these guys are just pirates. That's everybody else has their own thing going on, but these guys, they're just pirates.
Very nice. Very nice.
I like
looks good, man. Looks good.
I will say they're weeb pirates because their guns are shuriken guns. They shoot shurikens.
Okay.
But look, I mean, if a weeb wants to become a pirate, go for it, I say.
Probably wouldn't be the first. Probably wouldn't be the first stop.
That's been my week though, really, is between those two things. That's pretty much been it.
All right. Yes, I did get to watch a movie that was brought up. Yeah, I did finally watch the Spider-Man movie.
No Way Home?
No Way Home, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've watched before, I have a love-hate relationship with Disney.
Yeah.
I grew up with comic books. I like the MCU for the most part on that. So, but I just it's Disney.
Yeah.
But I enjoyed the movie. Man, it was great. I don't know. It was great. It feels like if you've watched all the Spider-Man movies, all the old ones, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, and everything, they didn't finish well.
Right, they did not. None of them.
I don't know anybody who, and I have nostalgia in my heart for them, but even at the time, Jamie Foxx as a villain in the Andrew Garfield one did not get.
No, they didn't let him be Jamie Foxx. First off,
well, no, and he wasn't Electro either. They, it was one of those things that they changed too much because just simply he was much more Electro, much more of a villain for the short time he was in the second one. And look, obviously, when you bring the electricity in and you give a shot of him in the air and you give the little yellow,
I mean,
I know it's cheap. And that's not all it takes, but that goes a long way.
It does. And this movie, that's what it felt like for me, is that they cared about how comic book and fans of the former movies felt.
Yeah.
There are so many little nods that just go, hey, yeah, this character finally gets to finish their arc.
Oh, yeah. And every single one of them, is they put it to rest well.
Mm-hmm.
And
even Octavius.
Yes. And it was just, it was a cool thing. The MCU is like nothing else.
Yeah.
I like No Way Home. It wasn't great, but it was okay. Really hope they do more Spider-Man like this. I really like how all the Parkers interacted with you. Absolutely, Dark.
Oh,
I
that's
thought it
such
was,
a great scene.
like I said, for me, uh, this is a movie meant for me. I'm a Gen Xer.
Yeah.
You know, the I've seen terrible superhero movies. You know, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man was like took everything to another level.
It did. It really did.
So
And
I
I'm
mean,
gonna throw the gauntlet down, just like you and I've talked about before. Uh, that is, and still always will be, Willem Dafoe is the greatest actor to ever play Green Goblin. No one will ever be able to compare to Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
oh no, no. It was funny. Caught a couple of interviews with Andrew Molina.
Yeah.
I believe if I get that name right, Mr. Molina and Mr. Fox were talking, and I believe it was them two in an interview with them, and they were like, "Okay, he's there," and they're just talking, doing their things and everything, getting ready for the shoot, and they're just standing there, and he goes over, and it's like action, and he's Green Goblin,
Yeah.
and he does that laugh and that
Yeah.
look, and it was like, yeah,
Yep.
like wow.
Also,
Yeah,
yeah,
no.
Dark. That scene was incredible. That scene almost got me to tear up in the theater.
Oh no! Look,
The payoff
I'm
for
not.
that is so good.
I am not crying now.
Right.
That you brought that up.
Right. Right.
Okay, no, that was so excellent. That's what I'm talking about. Just what this hits all the right things,
Mhm.
and I can I like Dark's take on it that it was okay.
Yeah.
You know, for me it's a little bit different. It was so great, but I know why it was great for me.
Right.
So yeah, I don't think there was anything really deep about this movie. Now,
Mm.
what you get to see, all the other Spider-Man villains that they put
Yeah.
up, and some of the stuff in the background, and they're blowing up the MCU to really make room for
Right.
a lot more stuff. But it's really kind of a weird thing in theater. There's no other time in history that can be done in a film,
Hmm.
and the MCU has set it up to where we can have the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, and
I don't.
you can't, like, people. I saw people immediately after this movie going, "Well, let's get one where all the Supermen from the years come together." It's like it wouldn't mean as much though.
No.
You could make a good movie that way, but it wouldn't hit the
Yeah.
way this does because, again, like you said, it is very much the core theme for the audience of this movie is these people did not get to finish their arcs.
Yes. And I'm on the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man stopping
Oh,
Tom Holland from making the mistake. Uh, yeah. And if you notice, if you go back and watch it, or if you can remember that there's two scenes where there's no dialogue,
Hmm.
and it's extended out past the point of recommended filmmaking.
yeah, yeah,
And that's one of them where he says everything without saying a word, right?
yeah.
And he's just looking at him because he knows he doesn't have to say anything.
If we're talking about great scenes too, Andrew Garfield standing on that rooftop saying, "You don't understand how it feels," and then Tobey Maguire says, "I do," and he knows, he can see it. Oh,
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. No, it was good. And that's the other thing that you can do a great Superman. There's
Yeah.
no point in getting all the Supermans together. There's just not.
You can do
You
one
know?
story that will make me care if you bring all the Supermen together, and it's all of them trying to save Paul Kent from his heart attack, and none of them are able to do so.
Hmm.
That is the only, like, each one comes to the world and immediately goes, "Paul Kent's alive. I have to stop his heart attack," and they can't.
Yeah.
That's the only way that would work.
Yeah. Well, I think
I would watch that movie. I'd cry at that movie. You kidding me? Oh,
Yeah. I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. And look, I know there's a bunch of crap already about the trailer for Thor: Love and Thunder.
yeah, yeah.
One thing I'm going to put my foot down on and say I appreciate. Okay, they got the character Jane Foster.
Mm-hmm.
She is built.
Oh, yeah.
She's got muscles.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's got. She can flex on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
The
Please do flex, please.
well, I mean, it's just like, look, there has been, if you go back and look at some of the, like, especially the old, like, not anything against the actress, but the old Supergirl movie. She's
Yeah.
a spindly little thing,
Yeah.
and that's happened a lot.
Dark, you could really make a great Superman movie where like 616 Superman has to fight the ones that have fallen for injustice. And the
What
reason
about
he keeps winning is because he's the one that stayed good.
no, Red Sun?
Yeah, Red Sun Superman's great because he's still a good guy. He's just
Yeah,
he was born in a different country and has a completely different set of ideals.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, there is a new Thor movie coming out with Thor. People,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. And I think it'll be good.
I think so too. All right, well, let's move into reviews, and
Yes.
real quick, we have to say goodbye to the X.
Yeah.
For many reasons. The one of them is this that it just vanishes in the new layout. But the other is that we've replaced the X in our reviews.
Yes. Yes. Can I get it on screen or will it disappear?
With a
too?
different X.
Yes. It disappeared too.
So
yeah.
reviews have been gone for a little while. They're finally back. Yet again, if you have never been a part of our review section on the podcast, we will cover a couple games. Today is Nintendo Switch Sports and Loot River, and we will have Rungren guess what the score is, and then all the rest of you in chat will get to guess. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can still put your guesses in the comment section down below. Just edit your comments so that you're not cheating watching you. But yeah, we have a good time with it. It's one of our favorite games to play here on the podcast.
The right ice cream. You finally got the right ice cream.
I
Trey.
did. I found
Yeah.
the file. It's a little grainier than it was before, and I don't know why, but I found it. So. Oh, our first
Yeah.
review. Nope, that's not where that goes. That was a fun mistake. Our first review is for Nintendo Switch Sports.
Yeah, man, they've been. I don't know if anybody else has been hit with this on YouTube. That's been the ads have really ramped up in the past couple of weeks for that.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
I think it's gonna be good. I think I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna go with 88. I believe this is
Okay.
pretty. This one's out there already. It's got, like I said, it's got advertisements for it everywhere.
Yes. And for anybody who doesn't know, this is the Switch version of Nintendo Sports or Wii Sports.
Mhm.
It's got a bunch of different stuff in it, and it's been a pretty looked for release all year. So your guess was 88, 86?
88.
88.
Yes.
Let's hear the review boss music. We cannot hear that if you're playing.
Really?
I can see you bobbing your head to it, so it's like, just so you know.
All right. Tell me if it comes in.
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Got it now?
Now I heard that.
All right. Heard it?
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Right. Here we go. Try to do boss music again.
Let's hear
Get
the
this worked
review
out.
boss music. Still can't hear it. We may have to pre-record it and play it.
Maybe so. You still can't hear that?
No. I can hear just little bits of it, but
That's always breaking up?
yeah.
Oh, we may
Wouldn't
have to
be
wait.
our podcast if there weren't technical difficulties.
I don't know what to do, man.
Yeah.
Got-
Well, let's bring it on to retirement. Yeah, I could hear it every once in a while there, but it definitely was breaking up.
Y'all are hearing that?
Just every once in a while.
Okay. Not that. Oh, well.
Yeah. We'll
We'll get this figured out.
Yeah, we'll get it sorted. But one last time, I'm bringing the axe back, and it has to go in front of my face so you can see it. Turn it on. Okay, so we have an 86 and an 84 in the chat. Yeah, said we can go, and the answer is 74.
Really?
So, we have some reviews here, and I want to read the first one to you from Nintendo Blast, who definitely won't be biased. Nintendo Switch Sports is already born as a Switch classic. Whether for its classic sports or its fun new features, the title enchants and promises even some free updates for the near future. With such a family-friendly game in a genre already so dominated by Nintendo. Yeah, I mean, they're the only ones who make Nintendo sports games. It's Nintendo.
Yeah, yeah.
It's hard to understand how it appeared on the hybrid console just now, 5 years after its release. Now at least we'll be able to retire our Wii at family lunches.
That's a shame.
What's a family lunch?
I don't know.
And why would you bring a Wii out at family lunchtime?
I think I'm starting to think that's a great idea. I've really missed out on something,
right?
over the years. Wii at lunch.
Next up for you, I have IGN Elite, who says Nintendo Switch Sports is a fun game for the whole family. Sports selection could have been wider and bolder, just like Wii Sports Resort, but as a lighthearted party game, it still works fine. Yep. Okay. It's sure.
Still works fine. I think okay. Still works fine. That's good to know.
Destructoid says solid and definitely have an audience. There could be some hard to ignore faults, but the experience is fun. I have a lot of questions for you, Destructoid. The first one is that I know your review was written in English, so what is this blurb? The second one is, because for what it's worth, we give people... I auto-corrected some lines in IGN Italy's because it was translated from Italian to English. This Destructoid article was written in English. Solid and definitely have an audience. Tells me nothing. And then there could be some hard to ignore faults. There could be? Are there or aren't there? But the experience is fun. That makes sense to me.
Are we trying to... That's like something you'd say if you're like on a game show, if you're trying to get somebody to choose a door.
Yeah.
Right?
There
Like,
could be some flaws.
The first door is solid, but definitely has an audience. Is it melting cheese?
I have one more review for you, and this one's from Twinfinite. And Twinfinite says, Nintendo Switch Sports is not a bad game, but it definitely doesn't offer anything radical new or revolutionary. And it doesn't provide much to keep me playing for more than a couple hours on occasion. I think there's a lot of potential here, though, so I hope that Nintendo plans to update it with additional content regularly in order to keep players coming back for more. Which you had me in the first half, but it feels like you kind of...
Even in the first half a little bit, I think intent behind the game matters.
I agree.
And this game is meant to replace Wii Sports.
Yeah.
As Wii's are getting older and not working, and obviously trying to sell copies and all that.
Yeah.
So as far as it being groundbreaking or bringing anything new, I don't think that intent was behind it at all.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for me to take a knock on it from that point.
Right.
It's like, well, yeah.
It's doing what it's trying to do.
Yeah. So.
What do you think the recommended score is?
I'm going to go with 76.
Okay.
I can hear it much better when you put it right there.
Can you?
Yeah.
All right, chat. That was your chance. The score is 61%.
Wow. Can't be that bad, really. It might be that bad. I'm just thinking this is one of those things where, maybe pro gamers probably shouldn't, the best person to get a review from on this game.
I also feel like the comment on it being 5 years into the Switch's life cycle is kind of true. A lot of people have traded their Switch in by now because there wasn't a lot of games that came out for it. And with what has just gone on in the world, a lot of people aren't gathering up to play video games together inside the same building anymore. And honestly, whether that had happened or not, people had kind of stopped doing that. So it's not really the market that the Wii had for Wii Sports.
But if you look at the commercials, you have people at home. You
Right.
have they're selling it, for a parent to play with the kid.
Right.
If that's yeah, you can play it by yourself. They have it on there, but
Right.
there's some points as a family thing
Yeah.
that everybody uses it, everybody enjoys it.
Definitely not hitting the zeitgeist that Wii Sports hit.
No, but then again, it's not new.
Right.
When you walk by Wii Sports for the first time, if there was this place set up, it was kind of interesting,
That
and
was
the
a brand new
tennis
thing you'd never seen.
and the tennis worked really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got around to the golf and you found all that. So I don't know. Yes, I can understand if you're expecting something new, it would be disappointing. But then I think you kind of weren't paying attention
I agree.
to that. But it. I don't know. Like I said, I kind of wanted. I think it's the wrong audience reviewing this game.
Yeah, I think so too. Next up, we have Loot River, which kind of came out of nowhere. It wasn't announced ahead of time, really, that it was being worked on. But it's definitely caught a lot of attention since it just suddenly dropped. This is a roguelike made by Straka Studio with a pixel art style, which, 8-bit style, pixel art style. There's 1,000,001 of those, but this one looks really interesting. I have not played it yet myself, to clarify. But what do you think, just based off what I've told you, the critic average score is going to be?
Well, been out for a while. I'm gonna say, ooh, because it's a roguelike. I don't know. I'm gonna say they say 74.
Okay. You got an 82? Okay. Yeah, said we could go. The answer is 79.
79.
Mm-hmm. Let me read you a couple of these reviews here because there's not that many of them, really.
Yeah.
Hardcore Gamer says even occasional bugs and minor inconsistencies on challenge do little to sully a terrific first try for Straka.
Okay.
Game Informer says it took me over a little 6 hours to get my first victory screen, but that wasn't the end of the game. Unlocking everything, uncovering secrets, and piecing together the lore are all part of the almost inexhaustible experience. It can be acutely irritating to fall victim to a first-level foe after nearly making it to the last boss in the previous run, but the game is hard to put down. Loot River reimagines some of its inspiration's best elements, offering players a chance to sail cleverly through each environment, grow powerful enough to slice up once impossible threats, and unravel a story that smartly weaves into its gameplay.
That was a lot of words to tell me it was an
Roguelike. Yeah.
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 I have two more for you here. Goddess of Geek says Loot River offers a challenge for the most sadistic of players. While the combat elements are enjoyable and the moving platforms give it a new spin that really works, I just always felt cheated with the lack of progress I was making. Then finally, we have Twinfinite again, who says, in light of Loot River's shortcomings, it's still a worthwhile title to play. Flicking Tetris blocks through an astonishingly fluid river is so satisfying. And while I have issues with the combat, the weapons and spells are fun to use when they work. If Loot River gained a roadmap of good changes and content to add to the pile, it could stand toe-to-toe with some heavy hitters leading the genre.
Okay. Man, it's hard to make. It's gonna be hard to do anything new with a roguelike, though.
Yeah, it's
I'm not
very
saying-
difficult.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just you really got to do something special.
You got to be Returnal. I only said Returnal out of the three that I could think of because I know how much you hate that name too.
From that, I'm gonna bump the score up a little bit. I'm gonna say 79.
Okay, got an 82 from Faith, pushing the button. Is Waverly going to go with an 80 again?
I think so.
Jack said we could go, and the answer is 58%.
But that's not what you said. I mean, I know it was, but I heard the reviews.
Yeah.
And
yeah, that's what it comes down to every time. The reviews and the scores don't match. So yeah, that's our review section. Nobody got on the ice cream wall this time, but there's always next time.
Yeah.
So let's get into announcements. This is one of my new favorite things that we do on the podcast, which is talking about Game Pass and Humble Games coming for the month.
Yes. There's another. Have you heard of? It's called Great Old Games.
Yeah, GOG, GOG. Are they doing
Yeah.
free games now too?
Well, I got a couple last week. I got a thing and opened it up and they had maybe it was a couple weeks ago. Anyway, I ended up with Oblivion, Arena, Morrowind, uh, excuse me, Daggerfall, not Morrowind,
Yeah,
uh,
nice.
for free, and then The Witcher for free. So
Very
I haven't
nice.
I haven't got anything this month, but I don't know if it's coming out. But yeah, I'll let you know. I'll keep up with that. It kind of surprised me. I
Okay,
didn't know.
sounds good. So first off, we have Game Pass games, and got some interesting ones for you. Today, Loot River. If you want to try it for yourself. Then we have coming this month, as in the 5th, Trek to Yomi. It's a very cool looking game with a really interesting art style that I'm super glad to see is coming to Game Pass because it means I don't have to buy it to make a video on it. Citizen Sleeper is also coming. And then on the 10th, we're getting Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, Anniversary Edition. Eiyuden Chronicle Rising, which you might have remembered we talked about before. This War of Mine Final Cut. And then on May 12th, we're getting NHL 22.
Where's your review? Did you view it on the podcast or did you write a review for it, Dark? Trek to Yomi?
Oh, nice.
Let's do that. That's one thing
Also-
Game Pass is good for, though. You know,
Oh, for
you don't have
sure.
to buy the game to review to do a video on it.
Also, just a reminder that games are also leaving. Anytime a month comes by,
Mhm.
games come and go. It was embargoed, but you'll be doing a written and podcast version. Awesome.
Okay.
San Andreas Definitive Edition is leaving on the 10th.
Mm-hmm.
Enter the Gungeon, Final Fantasy X and X-2 HD Remaster, Remnant from the Ashes, Steep, The Catch, Carp and Course, and The Wild at Heart are also leaving on the 15th.
What was the last one? The last couple?
The Catch, Carp and Course, and The Wild at Heart.
Okay. Yeah.
If you're wanting to play Final Fantasy X and X-2 in the next 12 days, you should probably hurry. Remnant from the Ashes is a really fun game. If you want to give that a shot, it's pretty short. You can probably beat it in a couple days.
Yeah.
And Enter the Gungeon is really fun. Definitely worth checking out if you like roguelikes. But those are the only ones that I have experience with from those.
Okay.
If you finish 10 in 12 days, then wow. 10's pretty linear. I think you could if you just didn't sleep. But 10-2.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
Just clarify, because
And-
people get mad when I say 10's linear. That's not a bad thing.
No. But if I've got 12 days to play a Final Fantasy for free, that's probably not the ones I'm picking
Right. No, I agree.
off the list.
But yeah, those are the Game Pass games. Then we also have the Humble Choice games coming. If games are better when linear. I think that's a whole different topic, I think, that we could cover at some point on the channel. That'd be really fun. Because I think there are multiple tiers of linearity in Final Fantasy, and people have it in their head that it's just linear open and there's no other thing. FF4 is linear. People don't feel like it's linear because you get the ability to explore the world, but you can't advance the world state until you go do the next linear thing.
Mm.
But 10 is more linear because you have to go to the next year. You can't go back, right? 13 is really linear until it opens up, but it's still technically linear because you can't do anything else.
For 27 hours of gameplay.
So it's linearity in Final Fantasy is a really interesting thing because you could go, well, that's just the way games are, but Final Fantasy VI is not linear. You have multiple branching paths that all come back in together.
Yeah.
So linearity is a scale. It's not a plus or minus. Sure, I understand. Next up is Humble Choice for May. And we got some interesting things coming here. Again, for anybody who doesn't know, Humble Choice allows you to pay a flat rate and get a handful of games for that cost. The list for this upcoming month is Planet Zoo, which is a zoo simulator. It's a pretty good one
Yeah.
too, honestly.
Yeah.
Command and Conquer Remastered Collection, though it is just the Origin key, so you will have to download Origin to get it.
Okay.
SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. Spellcaster University. Surviving the Aftermath. If Found. Genesis Noir. And Ember. For me personally, this is not a super great month,
No.
but I can't unsub and still get my founder's price, so
No,
I'll be
but
trying some of these games.
yeah, but when you're doing something like that where you're getting it for a flat price, there's going to be games that just are not
Yeah,
on your.
It's going to happen. And sometimes you come back to those games later and you find a really cool game that you didn't realize how good it was, you know?
That's fair. Yeah, you can do that.
So I'll play
Everybody's
Command and Conquer Remastered.
That's look to see that.
The Hand of Nod. Acknowledge. Can
Ember sounds familiar, but I can't remember what it is.
I need to pull this up too because I'm curious. But I need somebody to make a game that is just every line is a line from an RTS. So whenever the NPC speaks, they go acknowledged, or they do the Dawn of War one and they go yes, brother. Like it's just give me those. Give me please. Let me have the Total War one where the Skaven are just like. Ember is the firefighter simulator.
Okay. Wild. Okay.
I don't want. I want it to be like an MMO, and every voice line is just from. Let me mod an MMO. Let me mod FF14 to where every time anybody speaks, it's just RTS lines.
No, Messiah.
Yep. Like a big moment in the story with a cutscene, and the NPC opens their mouth to yell out a very important line, and they just go, C4 planted. Oh, let's move into the news. Speaking of C4, the Prince of Persia remake is still happening.
What? Yeah, I guess. How long has this been going on?
This game was announced 2 years ago, with a very, very poor showing, in my opinion.
It was okay. Hold on. It was announced with gameplay 2 years ago.
Yeah, which means they've been working on it for a while.
Yeah, the story goes back to like 2016, I believe.
Mm-hmm. And then they put out a thing going like, "Hey, we recognize that people say it doesn't look like it's finished. We're gonna push it back indefinitely until we can get it going." And Ubisoft put out a thing yesterday that says the development of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake will now be led by Ubisoft Montreal, the very birthplace of the epic Sands of Time trilogy. This decision is an important step, and the team, building upon the work achieved by Ubisoft Pune and Ubisoft Mumbai, will now take the time they need to regroup on the scope of the game to deliver you the best experience for this remake of an all-time classic when it's ready. I want to thank you all for your continuous support and patience throughout the development. Rest assured that we will update you on the progress in a future update. Yeah, a couple thoughts on this, but the first one is they went, "Hey, we don't like what you did, so we're going to take it from you instead of sending people to help make sure you finish it." Which tells me they're probably going to close those studios soon.
Probably so. And here's the thing that bothered me, because Sands of Time, I don't understand how you have such a good foundation.
Yep.
For what you know. Go watch the YouTube videos.
Yep.
You can still find YouTube videos on Sands of Time. Go watch. See why people love that game.
Mm-hmm.
You know? It's just it's yeah, it's kind of disappointing.
Yeah.
When you trying to rush it out, and not going through, not pulling through what I know is they're capable of.
And now not only have they jerked it from these two teams to working on it on the Ubisoft Montreal team, but that means they have to start over basically. And so like, what was the point? If you weren't going to make sure they could finish the game, why even give it to them in the first place?
No, it doesn't make sense. Well, also, this is, I don't know. that might be look, crunch time. Those two studios
Yeah.
lay some people off. They can't pull it off. And we're like, well, got to close you down now.
Yeah, it very well could be. And that could have
Like,
been a thing they'd been planning from the start.
so I don't know.
To know someone who never walked past a place to drink water without drinking it in real life.
Yeah.
Makes sense. My favorite thing about Prince of Persia is in the second game. Warrior Within, I think it's called. Where when the big ghost thing starts getting close to you, it just plays Crawling in My Skin. Like, sure, all right. Why not?
Time's convoluted. Songs get through.
We have another unfortunate studio news, though I guess it's not unfortunate. This is probably actually a good thing for these studios.
Yeah. Well, yes. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Square Enix is selling Eidos and Crystal Dynamics. And I got a lot to say about this, but should specify because people are going, Square's selling all their Western IPs. Well, no, they're still holding on to Just Cause, Outriders, and Life is Strange. They're not giving those up.
Well, if as old as I am, I can't think of Crystal Dynamics without thinking of a gecko with shades on it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of not selling. It's sold.
Well, it is, but it hasn't transferred yet. Embracer Group is buying them.
Okay.
The sale is finished, but it's got a date. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's corporate stuff. So
Yes. Yeah. So
at any point, it could be backed out of. There's a lot of weirdness going on with this, like how Square's saying, we're selling these and we're putting the money into NFTs. And so for anybody who's like, well, why would they sell these studios? Eidos makes Deus Ex and Crystal Dynamics makes the Tomb Raider games. There's something you got to understand, which is that Square Enix, I love them. They're great. Wonderful when it comes to their Japanese games. They have no idea what they're doing with these studios. They have not had an idea what they're doing with these studios for a very long time. When they put out that very first Tomb Raider game, it sold really well. Let me see if I can pull up the numbers here, but I believe that what was it called? Lara Croft Tomb Raider? The first game? PS4, I believe.
Yeah. What? The first Tomb Raider?
The one that after Square bought them.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it was just called Tomb Raider because it was a reboot.
I think so. Oh, yes. Yeah. Dark. That's a dark vote too. It's just called Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was going back. I was going back.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
The Tomb Raider reboot in 2013 had sold 8.5 million copies, which was great.
Yeah.
But Square Enix expected it to make 25 million copies, which it didn't make. And why would you expect that? And so they went, yeah, it was a failure.
That's the kind of crap that drives me nuts. Because I'll get something, I understand. Well, we need a good female antagonist. Well, for some reason, and it wasn't, there's the new Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And I say I've played, I think it was that one I've played. Graphics were amazing. Wouldn't surprise me. I that's fine. The gameplay was great. They never delved into her relationships. So.
Yeah, I don't care about her relationships. I just want to play Tomb Raider.
Right.
Do whatever she wants.
So that makes. I'm not surprised. I'm thinking back over some games. Not surprised.
I have some official numbers for you that have come out because of the deal, the merger, or not merger, the sell. Tomb Raider, as a franchise, which was founded in 1996, has sold 88 million units.
Yeah.
The mobile games alone have shipped 53 million
really
units because they were paid mobile games.
Dang.
The average for all of Lara Croft's entire backlog is 81% on Metacritic. 38 million of the units are just from the reboot trilogy. And Square Enix declared the entire thing a failure.
Yeah, no.
Next up, I have Eidos' Deus Ex numbers for you, which was founded in 2000. 2011 was the Human Revolution, the reboot, right? The entire series has sold 12 million and 2 million in the mobile downloads with an 83% Metacritic average. And honestly, much like Tomb Raider, an incredibly high buy-in from customers. People that like it really like it.
Yeah.
And Square Enix declared it a failure.
No. That almost sounds like a little bit of pride.
Yeah.
Because it's not their original IP.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Just to clarify too, Embracer Group is also getting Thief and Legacy of Kain from this, in case anybody forgot they make those. Thief, and that's why Thief hasn't had anything new come out, because Square Enix went, oh, we don't know what to do with this. There you go.
Look, I would love just the whole Legacy of Kain, Soul Reaver.
Yep.
Man, those games are, that story is so convoluted. It was, gosh, great.
Oh yeah, it's wonderful how nonsense it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, and yes, as has been pointed out, Mankind Divided was not a full game on release. They held stuff back. But Square's response was, well, people didn't like it, so I guess we'll just never make anything from it again and just keep owning these studios.
Yeah, no. Not good.
What do you mean, Square? And yeah, as has been pointed out, they never actually added the rest of the stuff that they held back. Because they just went, nah, we're done. We're good. You own Lara Croft and go, and remember, too, these are the same people that went with Hitman. Yeah, we don't know what to do with this either. And so IOI had to buy their way out of their deal to be able to make more Hitman games.
Well, that's, you can buy, and I think this is why Microsoft's winning. You can buy studios to shut them down.
Yeah.
To, so you thin out the competition.
Right.
Makes yourself look better. Or you can buy studios to let them do what they do and make you money.
Yeah.
And Square Enix does not seem interested in the second one.
Right.
They don't want competition.
I don't understand how you own Tomb Raider and you don't keep making Tomb Raiders.
Yeah. It
would almost be like Nintendo owning Metroid and not making any new Metroids for 8 years.
Yeah. Something like that. Or why we haven't got a Parasite Eve remake yet.
Yep.
Enix.
So yeah, this is a good thing for these studios. They're going to actually get to make stuff again, which is, pretty great.
Yeah.
Yes, please. And again, I saw some opinions on Twitter as usual. But one of them was like, you people don't get to criticize Square because you pay for subscriptions to FF14 and you buy Kingdom Hearts. It's like, doesn't that mean we should be able to criticize it?
Yeah, you're putting the money in.
Like, come on. I love Square Enix, but I'll be the first one to say, what are you doing? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
But let's get into the big topic for tonight.
The one you've been waiting on.
Yeah, Yuji Naka and Balan Wonderworld.
Easily.
Yuji Naka has come out with a statement of his own. And I have a full thread here of official translations that Yuji Naka has said, this is what I mean.
Okay.
He's basically put out a thing saying that the reason Balan Wonderworld failed is not his fault and is because he was removed from the team. And I'll get into the whole story here. But before I get into this, I want to specify that I'm not on Yuji Naka's side. I'm not on Sega's side.
Right. This is
Yuji
just
Naka,
information.
right. Yuji Naka has a long history of being incredibly hard to work with, to the point where when working on a Sonic game, he specifically went to Sonic, like Sega of America, went to their offices, didn't realize anybody in the room could understand what he was saying, and told the other Japanese guy in the room, "We will fire all of these people because none of them know what they're doing." When the whole team had studied Japanese to be able to speak to him when he got there.
Nice. Well,
by this, what I mean is he's not a saint either.
well, let's see what he has to say. You've got his thread there.
So, I will read verbatim here. I was removed as the director of Balan Wonderworld about half a year before release, so I filed a lawsuit against Square Enix. Now that the proceedings are over and I'm no longer bound by company rules, I'd like to speak out. I think it's wrong of Square Enix not to value games and game fans. According to court documents, I was removed as the director of Balan Wonderworld for 2 reasons. It was done by the producer, head of marketing, head of sound, managing director, and HR. First, when a YouTuber's arranged piano performance of the game music was released in a promotion instead of the original game track, turning the composer into a ghostwriter, I insisted that the original track be released, and this caused trouble. Second, according to court documents, Naoto Oshima told producer Noriyoshi Fujimoto that the relationship with Arzist was ruined due to comments I made wanting to improve the game in the face of Arzist submitting the game without fixing bugs. Arzist being the company that did a lot of the gameplay for Balan. Also, in an email from Oshima to Fujimoto, he wrote, I just told the staff about the demo delay. When I told them this was producer Fujimoto's decision, let's do our best for him, the staff applauded and cheered. This was unexpected, and I was moved. The staff's been down lately, but their spirits have been revived. Thank you very much. All of us on the staff will work hard. So the schedule wasn't up to me, but the producer, yet the schedule being tight was the producer's doing. Something was off. We were releasing an original game, but only putting out an arranged track was definitely wrong. I believe that the game music that everyone can hum out are the original tracks. I believe that every effort must be put in to make games the best they can be until the very end, so that game fans will enjoy what they buy. It wasn't right to, without discussion, remove and completely disassociate from the project a director saying so. Retweeting, liking, etc. on SNS and such was banned, so I don't think Square Enix values game fans. There were many comments and wonderful illustrations about Balan Wonderworld, and I'm really sorry that I couldn't react to them. Myself, I'm truly sorry to the customers who bought Balan Wonderworld in an unfinished state. From this point onward, I will be able to react to posts tagging me or directed only towards me on SNS and such. I believe that when making games, asking for fixes in order to make something good should be a given, and if that's not possible, it should be talked over, but it looks like they can't. I don't think they value games. And then he gets into his own history here. For Sonic the Hedgehog, 2 weeks before finalizing, the spec was changed so that if you have even one ring, you won't die. This now well-known rule was the result of improving the game until the very end, and people world over have enjoyed it as a result. Improving a game until the very end is what being a game creator is about, and if that's not possible, something's wrong. I asked my lawyer to negotiate my just being able to comment until the end of production, but their refusal led me to file suit. I think I have 2 more here. I think that the resulting Balan Wonderworld and the critical reception it received have a lot to do with what happened. I'm really disappointed that a product I worked on from the start turned out this way. I personally regret that Balan Wonderworld was released to the world in an unfinished state. I wanted to consider all kinds of things and release it as a proper action game. I don't think that Square Enix and Arzest value games and their fans.
Well, yeah, there's plenty of reasons we can call out Square Enix.
Right.
No doubt. We knew that, but Naka, please, come on, man. Yeah. That ain't. There's too much history there.
There is,
and you're putting it. You're putting. It's. How can I put this? He's putting it around. He's going around. Problems with the game, because everything he mentioned in there. None of those are the criticisms.
Right. The bugs are not the problem.
Yeah, the bugs aren't the game. There's gameplay problems.
Yes, the game is fundamentally flawed. And
Yeah.
so if you're going to tell me, and this is why I'm not on anybody's side here, if you're going to tell me that you were removed half a year before release, that's 6 months before release. That means the fundamental core gameplay was already decided on.
Let me chill at all times.
I would believe, right? I would believe that the story was cut in that 6 months. Sure, I could believe that. But the fundamental core aspects of that game were already decided on. You don't make an entire gameplay system in 6 months.
No, and we talked before. One of the biggest flaws in that game is putting in a sliding difficulty scale.
Yep.
And not letting anybody know.
Yeah, it's not in any of those tutorials, which are almost non-existent, by the way. Yeah, no, it's the game is brutal in a lot of ways, and it is not because Yuji Naka was removed 6 months before release.
No.
Again,
No.
I think that if he was really fighting for this artist that wrote this music, for sure, that's something that Square Enix should have taken more into account of. But the fact
there's no doubt Square Enix is
right.
You know, I mean, just look at our last little thing we just went through.
Yep, they don't know what they're doing either.
Yeah,
but the fact that he sits here and says the producer, the head of marketing, the head of sound, the managing director, and HR all wanted him gone.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, and it's a little, it's kind of funny talking about this, right? Because we're talking about it. This is, you can't, because you're going to put it in your mind, or a lot of us are, maybe some of us watching, you know, the American corporate system, how this might have worked. And that's not at all, you know, how it's going to work with that. You don't, Japanese companies don't fire people.
Right.
You know, they find something else for you to do.
That's right. They could have kept him on as a supporting director or something.
Yeah.
I have a big issue with his comment about how the relationships with artists were ruined because he made comments about the game still having bugs. They're 6 months out from release. Of course it still has bugs.
Yeah.
The one that Arsis would have submitted 6 months before release was not the final version of that game. It might have become the final version of that game, but it was not when it was submitted.
Well, see, this is another leadership thing, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe there's too much crunch time. I can't say. The problem is with his history of being kind of a jerk, hard to work with. You know, it's hard to come. You know, to give. I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but you know, I've got to take it into a pattern of behavior. Yeah. And I also take in the little bit I understand about the gaming industry and what, you know, and business and things like that. And that's not, you never take the head, you never, you know, fire the captain of the ship, you know, get rid of the officer without, it's got to be good, you know. And this is not, I mean, I don't know if I'm making enough sense here. It can't just be, well, like the music thing. There's got to be so much on that. And more and more, it sounds like they released Balan just to recoup some losses.
Right. Well, and let's also let's put this in perspective, because you brought up the way that Japanese companies do this. FF14 1.0 was an abject failure. It's one of the worst releases that Square Enix has ever had. It almost killed their MMO department completely. It was one of the worst things that they had ever done as a company, gameplay-wise, right? It was a massive dumpster fire. And Tanaka, both Nobuaki Komoto and Hiromichi Tanaka, directed that and produced it. And both of them lost their jobs 2 months after the release.
Mm-hmm.
It took 2 months after that dumpster fire before Square Enix went, we should fire them. The fact that Yuji Naka was removed 6 months earlier than the game released tells me there's a different issue.
Yeah, which kind of goes in parallel with the comment you know Dark just put up. You know, you've got the heads of all the departments wanting this guy gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's more. It seems like it's more than just like you're failing on this game,
right?
and there's other things that go in with that. Yeah, it's kind of a messed up thing. Like I said, the game, and it's we have to be able to say, even if we completely disagree with each other, we have to be able to say, I think this is a terrible game. I think this is a terrible book. I think this is a
Yeah.
terrible movie. Whatever it is, we have to be able to say that an opinion and let it go. And making up excuses and starting to point fingers, especially when you're the lead on this.
Yeah.
You're not only the lead on it, you're a legend in the gaming industry. People know your work, they don't know your name.
Right.
You've got stature, right?
Yeah.
You should know how to make a game. I don't know. It seems like scrambling and pointing fingers, and it's not.
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone should be ashamed. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, I have the exact quote of what happened with the Sonic game here.
Okay.
I have like a 3-part saga of it, basically, which is Yuji Naka mentions, I was involved from the beginning of the creation of Sonic 3. I was responsible for designing the characters, the main programmer, while the mapping was done by the guy who left to join Naughty Dog to do Jak 2. He was involved in until Sonic 3, and then he didn't do anything at Sega. He was quite useless. So then I have the comment that he made. Yuji Naka started speaking in Japanese, assuming that no one would understand. He started talking about what parts of our tech they were going to take for Sonic, and then basically said as soon as they ship, fire everyone but one of the engineers who knows their system and roll him onto our team for Sonic. And my team heard all that, so you can imagine how they felt.
Yeah.
And then we have the statement about when he is removed as head of the Sonic team. According to the Japanese press release from Sega and our own sources, Naka is no longer the head of Sonic Team and has no say on Sega's future projects developments anymore. Instead, he will now head up future generation projects at Probe, which he has since left, or been forced to leave, we're not sure, and has been allowed by Sega to take 10 members of the existing Sonic Team, which has capital of 10 million yen. Our source also reveals that while the publishing rights to any new titles created by Probe are not exclusive to Sega, they will have first dibs on publishing. This means that should Sega reject a title produced by the new studio, Naka would then be free to approach other publishers, which is exactly what happened and led to him working with Square Enix for Balan Wonderworld.
Sega reject. No, we're not doing that game.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I know a company dumb enough.
Yep.
Oh man. Yeah, it's a bad game. And I realize that there are people that enjoy it, but to get another view on it, I checked a couple of them out, and basically they like the picture of it. They're not trying hard,
Right.
They just like the prettiness, and it's like, well, it's not really a game.
Right. Also, just to come to Arz's defense here real quick, because people might be going, well, I mean, it's probably their fault, right? Arzus made Mario and Luigi Bowser's Inside Story and Bowser Jr.'s Journey for the 3DS. They made Terra Wars for iOS. They made Hey Pikmin. They made Pochi and Yoshi's Woolly World. They made Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. They made Terra Battle. They made Yoshi's New Island. And they made We Play Motion Tech and the Street Pass Me Plaza.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not that they're bad developers. It's...
Right.
Something happened, and we'll probably never know the full story, but...
That's true.
Man.
They're partially at fault. Yeah. Yeah.
It's not that they don't know what they're doing. It's that something happened. And my gut says that when Yuji Naka made his comments, ours just went, we're done. And the version that they had is the version that they still shipped.
Yeah. I mean, why would you keep working for that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, why would we make your name look good?
Yeah.
After you say that.
Which means then Square would have had to try and save it for, like, 6 months. And should have just pushed it back.
Yeah.
Or just canned it.
Well, look, think about it. This game could be played by a 3-year-old that doesn't understand the game.
Right.
Because after so many mistakes, the game's going to take over for them.
That's right.
And all they're going to have to do is hit a button to proceed.
Yeah. How do you make a 3D platformer and not give you the ability to jump? Dark
Yeah.
Souls just added a jump in Elden Ring, and you can't jump in Balan Wonderworld if you look like a lizard.
No, it's just not a good game. Honestly, I really wonder because there's some stuff about that game that's a little bit disturbing.
Yeah.
And not sarcastic. I'm not being ironic.
Right.
I mean, yeah.
I agree, especially once I found out lizards don't jump, they climb. That's fair. Give me a climb button then instead of a jump button. Especially once I find out stuff like some of the characters from the individual stories like carry over and like keep going. There's the stuff with the girl and her cat, and then what lesson are we teaching children? That if your cat dies, it'll come back if you just trust in a man in a hat?
Yeah.
You know, like,
And what a Balan actually is.
yeah, for sure. Yuji Naka's a strange man if he came up with all that.
Yeah.
Actually, I want to check before we move on. The book, who wrote it?
Oh, that's right. Too many, and so many of the scenes, and the seizure-inducing stuff. That a lot of that is just like watching Trey play through. It's just copy and paste stuff.
Yeah.
You haven't added anything new.
Toshi Awasaki. What else has he written? Okay. All right. I'm not ever one to go like, hey, maybe don't. Because anybody can write anything good. But I'm going to tell you the 4 credits this man has.
All right.
2002, Blinks the Time Sweeper. He was the writer.
Okay.
2006, Yoshi's Island DS. He was the writer. 2007, Vampire Rain. And 2008, Vampire Rain Altered Species. And I'm not saying he's a bad writer. I'm just saying
I don't know. That's weird.
they should have given him more time to work on it. Because there's some ideas that are pretty cool.
Well, wasn't the story behind it that this is supposed to fill in the stuff that you don't know?
Yeah, the book tells the rest of the story the game doesn't have.
Yeah.
I have to read that book at some point and
Yeah, go for it.
do a video on it. I really don't want to. I've been putting it off for months.
Pretty sure you're on FBI watch list for just playing the game.
I'm sure. So yeah, this is the Yuji Naka situation. We're probably gonna get a little bit more information. We might at some point get a press release from Square, but that's gonna be it. Whether it was his fault or not, Yuji Naka's gonna continue to be Yuji Naka.
I bet we just hear stuff from him. I bet Square Enix goes silent.
Yeah, the game hardly has a story, and the story it does have, you get no context.
Yeah.
Just, hey, here's people. And like the native storytelling in the levels is actually pretty good. That's what upsets me. Like the figuring out stuff based on what the costumes are and what's in the world. There's a lot of really cool stuff in there. And so it upsets me when the game just goes, you had a really good idea about how this ties in. It doesn't matter. We're moving on. All right.
There you go.
But every once in a while, in the middle of the night, I hear the song that plays at the end of a level of Balan Wonderworld where they dance, and it will always be in my mind.
Sorry.
So yeah, we got about 20 more minutes left in this podcast. You want to tackle a topic? We have one that we said we'd tackle.
I got a story.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm sorry. Please go ahead.
All right. That's all right. Well, I'm going to say happy birthday. One to James Brown, the Godfather of Soul. It's his birthday today, though.
Nice.
He passed a few years ago, but this should be a national holiday. And apparently it is Princess Hoyra bint Hussein of Jordan. Her birthday, too. I'm sure she's watching. So
Nice.
Happy birthday, Princess.
Birthday.
Now, the story I have, I've got to admit, is rather disturbing.
Okay.
So the story actually came out in late April.
All right.
This year. and some people have referred to it as witchcraft.
Okay.
Yes, according to Tropicana, they've come out with a cereal that you're supposed to eat with orange juice, not milk. So 5422. They have a whole commercial for it. You can check their Twitter profile. They're they're they have a bowl of cereal that is they're pouring orange juice into it. They've got the little red and white straw in there, so you know it's their brand. This
I
is
don't like
cereal
this. I don't like this.
cereal made for orange juice. Now you might wonder why May 4th. Well, that's National Orange Juice Day. Um, the so they, I don't know how much further to go with this. It's kind of creepy. I,
Yeah, you said it's what's the brand?
Tropicana, the orange juice brand.
Let me pull up an image on this on the stream so everybody can see it.
Yeah, it's called Tropicana Crunch, honey almond cereal made for orange juice, and they're going to send. Each box comes with a little red and white Tropicana straw. Yeah, there it is.
Why would
There
you
it
do
is.
this? Why would you do this?
Well, they say they want to make an unforgettable breakfast experience. They don't ever say whether it's good or bad. They just said you won't know until you try it.
It comes
Uh,
with a straw. Are you supposed to drink it instead
yeah,
of eating the cereal? And then you eat the cereal after you
well,
drink the
no,
orange juice? Or you eat the
no,
cereal first, then you drink the orange juice?
eat the cereal first. Eat the cereal first. Yeah,
But you
they
can
say
just drink it with a bowl.
the country stuff is honey almond flavored and perfectly designed to show off the glory of their juice offerings, whether you're into pulp or not. Um, now, interestingly enough, this is not the first time they've branched out. Now, this is the first time it's going to be available to the public. They in November of 2021, Tropicana, they released a toothpaste, but you had to enter a contest to win it. And the toothpaste was advertised as toothpaste that doesn't ruin orange juice. If you've ever had a sip of orange juice after you brush your teeth, that's quite a claim.
Yeah,
Quite
no,
a
for
claim.
sure.
And if you don't understand, go brush your teeth, then take a sip of orange juice.
Yeah.
And they did that too because apparently the day they did it in November or in 2021, it was National Brush Day. I didn't realize that. But yeah, they had to win it. You had to win it through a sweepstakes. So if you're a diehard fan and wanted some toothpaste that didn't ruin OJ, it was never released to the public.
Look,
Now,
if you're somebody that uses juice instead of milk, I get it. I do. However, why would you use orange juice? Maybe, look, I'm going to be the first one to say, maybe I'm reacting to this like this. I'm allergic to oranges. So maybe that's why this is so eerie to me. But, like, surely you'd want to use a lighter juice, right?
I don't know.
Orange juice is so, like, tart. When you want to use, like, apple juice?
Use instead of milk. So, yeah, if you haven't, go. Next time you brush it, just get a little glass and put a little bit of orange juice in there. Brush your teeth, rinse it out, swig the orange juice.
I will not do that. Thank you, though.
Well, yeah.
Maybe you're allergic. I mean, I guess, yeah. Maybe you can't have milk and you're allergic to apples. But yeah, it just like to me. I should clarify. I can drink Sunny D, so I guess I'll try some cereal with Sunny D and see how that feels. Because Sunny D is not actual orange juice; it's just orange flavored.
Toothpaste with orange juice is not just mint.
I've never heard this before. Like I would understand if somebody was using again like apple juice or I was about to say cranberry juice, but that's pretty strong too. So who knows? Maybe I'm just uncultured in this regard.
Yeah, maybe so. I don't know. I think I'm gonna try it.
Okay.
Well, it's not completely unheard of. It's just not common.
Yeah.
Right. Especially for us here, where we can get milk quick.
Yeah. I have a
You know?
different recommendation if you're somebody that can't have milk and you don't like the idea of this. We're not sponsored by them, and they have a lot of sugar. I think they might have some non-sugar versions now. But Magic Spoon is a box of cereal you can get where the spoon makes it taste like you have milk, even though you don't have milk, and you can eat it dry. So just
Okay.
something to think about. Something to think about.
I don't know. When like almond milk work or
Yeah,
can
almond
you have
milk,
almond milk?
coconut milk.
Yeah, there's options. Is all I'm saying is there's
Yeah.
options.
Also, Magic Spoon, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I will 100% do an ad read for you.
Yeah, I will eat cereal right here, right now.
Live on this podcast.
You dang straight.
So, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, I thought that would be a little bit shy. That's why I tried to give a trigger warning at the beginning of it. You know, it's
Yeah.
disturbing. Might throw you off a little bit.
Look, I love the way that oranges look, and orange is a great color, but we do have a little bit of time, and I know we had people wanting us to talk about this topic. Death in video games.
Death in video games. All right. Death in video games.
Yes.
How you want to start this out?
Water and cereal taste like milk? I don't know. I just know you can use the spoon. And it'll give other flavors too. There's some cool stuff they do with that. Sponsor us, or I will never talk about you again. No, so death in video games is like a cool thing, right? In a lot of ways, of death in a video game can really just like hammer home the combat system. You have to have that threat, right? And to clarify, because I see the comment about spoilers, this is not, let's talk about our favorite deaths in video games. This is death as a mechanic in video games, which I see a lot of people say, especially like when Elden Ring came out, like that you shouldn't be able to die in video games. But what makes death in video games good? What is a good use of death as a mechanic? And what is a bad use of death as a mechanic?
Well, let's back up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll probably back up a little bit more than this, but we'll back up to. I know we can back up more than this, but we'll back up to Mario Brothers, original Super Mario Brothers,
for
right?
sure. Lives.
Dun, 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 dun. You know, it was a consequence for messing up, right?
Right.
And that's basically what it was.
Mhm.
You had these chances to go off. And then as games got deeper and bigger and stories could get more intricate, death started to become a storyline
Right.
part. Obviously, the biggest one, not player character, but, in Final Fantasy VII,
Right. Yes, absolutely.
when Sephiroth comes down, it was a story plot.
Yes, absolutely.
And presented to you that, and I'm sure there's more before that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
one, I think it's Final Fantasy 3 where the twins,
Final Fantasy 4, yeah.
where they petrify and hold
Mhm.
the spoilers, I guess, for that. I don't know. For most of the time, it seems like death it's played simply like, okay, you didn't make it all the way through this time, so we're going
Right.
to start you back over at a point. Now, there are some games that have done something very interesting stuff with death. I think first one comes to mind is Ico.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where you die, you get more of the story.
Mm-hmm.
Assassin's
Roguelikes
Creed
do that a lot, too.
Assassin's Creed kind of had an interesting thing with death.
It
You
does.
didn't
It
die.
absolutely does. No, that didn't happen. That's not how that happened. Roll it back,
Yeah. Yeah. And a few games we talked about Sands of Time. They kind of did that. You can play death and that thing, you can kind of back it up.
For sure. For me, death as a mechanic can work either in, hey, dying in this game is a result of a mistake that you made, or, as you said, dying in this game gives you more of the story, or dying in this game helps you learn more about what you should be doing. There are definitely games, I think, where death is really annoying in them, and one of the big issues is when you have a long run back to a boss fight after a death.
MMOs, yeah.
Yep.
Early MMOs.
Feels bad.
Have to go
Feels
loot my
really
corpse.
bad. Dark Souls 2 has one that takes 7 minutes almost to get back to the boss.
Yeah.
if you die. And that every death there feels bad. But there's
Right.
one in Dark Souls 1 where I died 166 times before I killed that boss, but I was loving it every time. Because that fight was great, I was really enjoying it, I was learning more every attempt, and I beat him.
The and it's old EverQuest probably been out for a year. No group that played on the PvP server.
Hmm.
And I had a druid way down. This is for just in case some old school EverQuester comes across this video. Way down the bottom of Guck. Got through a fight,
Nice.
and like you got to fight through all the troll. It's not
Appreciate
easy
you,
getting
Waverly.
down there. The way down the bottom of Guck, which it take you a long time to get down there. You'll die repeatedly getting down there.
Yeah.
With equipment, without help. So they get through a fight, and everybody's kind of hurting a little bit. So he just AoEs the group, loses one thing, and gets out there. So they all, yeah, jerk move.
Yeah, for sure.
Jerk move. But old PvP was like hardcore.
Yeah. Well, I think that's where death is a very important part of video games, because without it, what are the stakes, right?
Yeah.
Like, video games already don't have a lot of stakes for the most part, gameplay-wise, because if you die, you come back. And a lot of games make it a mechanic. Borderlands, BioShock, you know as the player you're going to get to come back if you die.
Mm-hmm.
But death means something because it's a loss of progression, even if only temporarily, or because it stings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Well, in the old MMO, not just EverQuest, but old MMO, you could lose your level. You lost experience, you lost gold, you may even lose equipment.
Mhm.
Pretty harsh.
Yeah. There are games where you can't die. I mean, obviously, like, the one that people always pull up is Kirby's Epic Yarn, where there is no fail state at all.
Yeah.
If you fall, you just get pulled right back up. That game still has a lot of really cool moments in it, but there were definitely moments where I was like, man, this boss fight is tough, but nothing matters. And then there are games where death is far too punishing, like Balan Wonderworld. Hey, you lose a costume that you can't get back unless you're near the spot where it is.
Yeah. And then, over the years, we've dealt with it different ways. The idea of checkpoints, autosaves, things like that have changed a little bit. Where on some games, death is not that big of a deal. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm going to be 30 seconds back.
Yeah. It's really interesting that games aren't really games without fail states, and death is like the premier fail state. It's the one that comes up almost all the time.
Well, I like it when, also, if some games do that little bit extra and don't just stop when you die,
Right.
you get your death scene.
Yes.
And I think that adds something to it.
I agree.
A little bit, getting your death scene. And maybe, like in the classic Resident Evil, you died.
Yeah. Dead Space does a really cool way with it too, where when you die, you get to see Isaac get destroyed by a necromorph.
Yeah. So it makes, even though you're just gonna be starting over, a little ways back, it still makes it a little more impactful.
Yeah.
That extra step.
There's also like stakes that can come in if you're going to have that visual indication of death or the character suffer. Tomb Raider was brought up earlier by Dark in the chat, but both Tomb Raider and Last of Us have like very graphic death scenes for the characters. And I think it's a weird thing where Tomb Raiders, I kind of got desensitized to it because of how many there were and how often I died. And sort of the same way in Last of Us, but there's a part in Last of Us 1 where you play as Ellie. And I cared about Ellie. And there's a part where she's getting attacked, and my hands were actively shaking because I didn't want to see Ellie die. Because I like that character. And so I think there are definitely ways to enhance the experience with that.
Yeah, and on the other hand, there's been fights where I'm like, I know I'm gonna get a boss fight with you later on, and it's gonna let me kill you, and I'm gonna it's gonna be satisfying.
Yes.
Wesker.
Yep.
1 of the biggest ones. 100%.
100%. 100%. while we're talking about death in video games and we're talking about death as a mechanic, how do you feel about when you have to fight a boss and the game won't let you beat them?
When the character, what now? When the character,
When you're not allowed to beat the boss. Like, even if you get their health bar down to nothing, it doesn't matter. They're still going to win in the cutscene. So why even have me fight them? This death is meaningless.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see, Metal Gear has been guilty of that on a couple.
Yeah.
Where you go through. I don't know. Now I think about it, it's happened on some games where it hasn't bothered me but it flowed through.
Right.
It's I think where it gets me is when you get that abrupt stop, and then it switches, and all of a sudden you're on a different part of the platform as the guy's got to switch and run, and it doesn't fit the cutscene.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
Dark's with us on that. But since you brought up Metal Gear, let's talk about that. If not for the ability to die in Metal Gear Solid, we wouldn't have one of the greatest sound bites in video game history. Snake. Snake.
Snake.
Snake.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Death is such a weird, cool thing in video games. It's hard to get right, but worth it.
I think so. And a lot of times, in a story, they'll try to force a death to make you feel, I don't know this character. Sorry.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Snake, do you think love can bloom even on the battlefield? I love Otacon so much.
Yeah.
Oh. No, yeah, it's whenever a game tries to force a death, make you care, and sometimes they drag it out really hard, and it's
Yeah.
So without saying names, Diablo 3, the big final character death at the end of the game that you're supposed to care about.
Oh yeah.
And then afterwards, they tell you how great that character was and how sorry they are that it happened to her, and I enjoyed killing that character. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. That was, man. Diablo 3 is a step down in that series.
So yeah, that's death. I mean, we could go into a lot more if we wanted to talk about specific character deaths, but again, we were trying to avoid spoilers here. Maybe we'll bring up spoiler talk another time and talk about the best character deaths in media. Let me add that to the list.
Okay. Yeah, we can go over that. I think a lot of that, a lot of death. You probably have a lot of the same things for romances, friendships.
Yeah.
Building that. There's stories that they fit and they flow naturally in, and you feel okay. It works. And then there's stories that they just don't, and it feels forced in.
Yeah.
So I think the bottom line on all three of those is it going to work?
Right.
Does it work for the story?
That scene is very good, by the way, Dark. Just agreeing. That's so good. I agree. You gotta make it make sense mechanically and narratively. And your deaths can be punishing, but don't try to kick the player when they're down. Like when Bloodborne first came out, the loading screen was a solid 30 seconds every time you died.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people thought that was intentional because they thought From Software was going, you died, didn't you? Here you go. 30 seconds of nothing.
Look at it.
And then they basically were like, oh, no, sorry, we uploaded the wrong version. We uploaded 0.9 instead of 1.0. Here's 1.0 with loading screens. Sorry, we didn't mean to just give you black screens for 30 seconds. That was a mistake. And then they improved the loading time later on to be like 4 seconds. It was like, yeah, this is way better.
I think this goes into the big discussion of game theory of risk reward.
Yeah.
Punishment reward.
Mm-hmm.
In the game, because if all you're doing is being rewarded in the game, that's no fun either.
Yeah. Also, if you're gonna have it where I can die in a boss fight, which is gonna be 99% of all boss fights, right? I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you not give me the option to skip the cutscene?
Oh,
You know, I have to do this again.
yeah.
Let
There
me
should
skip
al-
it.
There should always be, even if it's got to be a 2-button thing, like where you
Mhm.
hit it and it goes, "Hey, you want to hit?" And then you hit it again. That's cool. Yeah, yeah. Please.
Yep.
I think so because yeah, especially because that can ruin again. That can ruin boss fight. You
You
do
can.
it over and over and over, and you're like, I just don't. I'll do the fight again. I just don't want to sit through the cutscene.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But yeah, I think all cutscenes should be skippable.
Do you remember when I told you about the changes they made to the FF14 like final story dungeon for like 2.0 for A Realm Reborn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Again, recently they fixed it, right? And made it its own standalone instance, made it good again. But for a little while you couldn't skip the cutscenes in there. And there is a whole speech by Gaius von Belsar. And if you have played that dungeon more than twice, you can recite his speech. Like, hero of Eorzea. Look, guys,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just here to finish this dungeon. I don't care. Yeah, both of the speeches. That's very true. There's also a moment where a different character in that dungeon has a speech, and he calls his hammer down from the sky, and it lands in front of him. He does a big sweep up, and I convinced somebody else that while they were gone to get a sandwich, that character actually did a backflip this time and caught it in midair because we were on the 1000th run of it for the day.
Oh gosh.
And that person believed me and said they were going to run it again tomorrow to see if they could find that cutscene or to see that moment. And I feel like a terrible person, but I laughed really hard.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So yeah, we'll be back. We'll be back Thursday. You got any plugs?
No. Really don't. I have been just doing my stuff, so I really haven't got time to watch or do much else
And
going out. You, sir?
I want to just real quick plug this song again. Yep. And then yeah, we got more stuff coming up on the channel as usual. Videos continue to roll out as we go, and if you care about the Guild Wars 2 stuff, be excited for probably sometime next week. I'll have hit 80, I assume, and have some stuff to talk about there. And then there's we got a brand new series we debuted last week, Best Moment in, which this one was Trails, Best Moment in each Trails game. I ran a poll on YouTube, and it looks like Gundam is going to be the next one that wins. So I'll do a best moment in each Gundam series that I've seen, and then the next one after that will probably be Final Fantasy. So
Okay.
expect those in the next couple weeks. Hopefully.
Very nice, sir. Very nice.
Thursday's podcast coming up as well. Don't forget about that.
Yes.
We got some cool stuff to talk about there. But
Same bat time, same bat channel.
That's right. But till next time, I've been Trey.
I've been Rungren.
We've been the Full Spectrum Podcast. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum. Life has to offer.